listening to the Hall of Fame. Here's Booker T and Brad Gilmore.
Welcome inside the Hall of Fame. I'm Booker T, 6-time world champ, 2-time Hall of Famer. Got my man Brad Gilmore here with me, as always, bringing it to you from ESPN 97.5, 92.5. And guys, it's all about the people. It's all about giving you guys what you want. It's all about giving you guys your champagne wishes and caviar dreams. So we appreciate you for stepping inside the Hall of Fame. Brad, how you doing, man?
Hey, Book, I'm doing great. I'm excited to be back here on the air. You know, it was a great weekend. You know, it was a relaxing weekend, but I'm excited to get here and talk to you. You know, Book, also, I don't know if you heard this, but over the weekend, the president declared the pandemic over, right?
Yeah.
Just in time, though, for the FDA to come out with its newest warning. And I didn't know if you had heard about this, so I want to throw it by you. Have you heard the latest warning from the FDA?
No, man. What is it?
This came from the Food and Drug Administration today, urging millions of Americans who are following a social media trend, please do not cook your chicken in Nyquil because it can cause death. I didn't know.
Why would we? Why? I mean, is that some kind of special gravy? What's the deal with the chicken and NyQuil? You know what I mean? I mean, I know about the chicken and cream of mushroom soup. Okay, I do that all the time. That's one of my go-to. But the chicken and NyQuil, that's a different. What is the deal on this, bro? Talk to me about it.
You know, it's some social media challenge, and the FDA has called the NyQuil chicken challenge silly and unappetizing. And boiling a medication can make it much more concentrated and change the properties in other ways. It can hurt your lungs, the medication vapors while cooking, that is. Even if you don't eat the chicken, you could still get seriously hurt. It could even cause death. Now, I don't know where we are in the world and in this society that we live in that we have to say this out loud, but do not cook your chicken in NyQuil, please.
Yeah.
The people out there,
you know, just these challenges, you know what I mean? It's a different kind of challenge going around every day, man. I swear, man, on this social media, bro. I got kids, man. So I definitely got to stay abreast of what's going on social media, especially with young girls. Young girls, man, they definitely are putting themselves out there like never before. I've never seen anything like it is today. It's nuts. It really is, and they need to regulate this stuff somehow, bro.
They have to regulate it. You know, I saw an article where there's a growing issue in public high schools, or in private high schools for that matter, of young women, you know, starting OnlyFans accounts, right? I mean, under the age of 18. Now, you're not supposed to be, at least from what I read, able to do that, but all it takes is you just changing your birthday by a couple of years, and boom, you're in. And you know, they're out there, and that's no bueno. That's not a good thing, man.
It's nuts, man. It really is. It's crazy. So I mean, I love it. I love social media. I love you know, being able to be connected and whatnot, and being able to advertise whatnot. But some of the stuff that's going on social media is crazy. And it doesn't seem like anybody is doing anything to try to slow it down. And for me, I'm good. I'm 57. I mean, I'm past that social media craze. But young people, man, I feel for them, man. I really do, especially from a peer pressure perspective.
So you're saying you're not going to participate in the chicken and NyQuil challenge? Is that not? We're not going to get that video from you?
I would not be doing the chicken and NyQuil challenge.
What about the Tide Pod challenge? If you remember that one? I mean, it's just the dumbest thing. It should be like, I don't know, common knowledge that these things are poisonous, you know, like Tide Pods and boiling NyQuil.
What about injecting bleach?
Can you inject it and get?
I mean, I'm serious. I mean, it's crazy what people are even thinking about. I remember at one point, people were, what was it? Super gluing something. What was it? Man. Oh, it was to make their lips bigger. So they would actually super glue their lip to where it would be like this, hooked to the top, and the bottom would be hooked to the bottom, just to make their lips look bigger. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
the Kylie Jenner challenge, I believe that was called, and some
Yeah,
people were sucking their lips through bottles to like make them swollen.
yeah. Stupid, man. It's stupid.
Leave that for Jackass. Like that's
No,
why we have that show. We have that show so they can do it all, and we can watch what happens to them.
it's crazy the people that want to do these challenges, though. You know what I mean? They ain't get paid no money for it. They get paid a dime, and some of them are willing to risk, pain and dear to actually be a part of these challenges. So my thing is, man, just like Nancy Reagan said back in the day, just say no.
Book, if your garage door breaks down, you can fix it, right? If you don't want your cat out there reproducing, you can fix a cat, but you really truly can't fix stupid. There's nothing you can do about it, right? And unfortunately, that's a lot of people on social media fall into that latter category. So just a word for the wise out there. Consider a PSA from the Hall of Fame. The Nyquil and chicken challenge, we're a no on. We'll go with the cream of mushroom. You can put it in broth. You can do whatever else really you want in your chicken. You can fry it, you can bake it, you can grill it, you can throw it in the air fryer.
Put a little brown gravy on it. That's what I like.
Brown gravy on it. Ooh, that sounds good.
Oh, it's real good, man. You got to make sure you let the chicken cook all the way thoroughly, and then you put the brown on, let it bubble and boil, and take it out. I'm telling you, man. I'm trying to tell you. But Charmel did the cooking yesterday. I must say she did a hell of a job. She threw the chicken in the oven and just let it bake. It just let it bake.
There you go. It's simple. It's simple things that we have to do sometimes.
Simple stuff. Yeah. Good meal.
Well, there you go. Not a subject I thought we would broach today, but chicken and NyQuil. Book, there was a lot that happened. You seem like you got some on your mind, though.
No, I just want to remind all the guys out there, let everybody know I was going to be on Twitch playing golf. I had some technical difficulties. My guy just texted me. He said, I'll be there in about 30 minutes to make sure everything is up and running. Tried to go live this morning, and it gave me some kind of message. Tried to go live on Monday, and things just wasn't right. But rest assured, in the morning, guys, Booker T will be live streaming on Twitch, playing some golf, man. So, guys, come on down and get in around with your boy.
Kick it with the 5-time champ. Come on now, y'all. Well, you know what? The Twitch channel's up. We're almost at 600. We're almost at 630,000 subscribers here on the Reality Wrestling YouTube channel. We want to appreciate everybody. If you're watching right now, shout us out. Shout out where you are. Where you're watching from around the world. We always like to know. We will take super chats. If you have a particular question you want asked and answered, super chat that thing on in, and we will answer it accordingly. Look, there's just so much that went on over the weekend, some combat sports. There's some news that's been breaking in the world of sports and entertainment and wrestling. By the way, you haven't seen it yet, but you got to stand corrected. The new Fletch movie is good. It's not Chevy good, but it's good. Not great, but good.
I'm not looking for good. Okay. I'm not looking for that, but go ahead.
It's not good. I mean, it's good, not great, but good. And I just want to shout out everybody out there. If you watch Confess Fletch over the weekend, you'll holler at your boy. We can talk about it because it can be done. We can bring the 80s back in the 2020s. Also, did you ever watch that or hear about that case, that Adnan Syed case about the kid in Baltimore who they said he strangled his girlfriend back when they were in high school?
I never got a chance to check that out.
Okay, yeah, it was a big deal, big podcast, HBO documentary. He got out over the weekend. I thought that you and I had talked about this. Maybe we did, but he's now out. I mean, just things are going crazy. Canelo Triple G. Logan Paul is going to be in Saudi Arabia. Trish Stratus, near-death experience for Trish Stratus. We're glad that she's okay. Emergency surgery was able to save that. Ricky the Dragon Steamboat getting back in the ring. Who is the White Rabbit? I mean, there's just so much to talk about, Book. We have Grand Slam this weekend. Where do we start? With
I don't know, man. Let's start with Trish Stratus because I've been unaware of what's going on with Trish.
So Trish Stratus almost had a near-death experience, as I pointed out. She said that her appendix almost bursted. And if your appendix bursts, might happen to my brother-in-law, it can cause infection, or not my brother-in-law, my actual brother. It can cause an infection throughout the body. And, it's very, very shaky ground. So she was able to go in there and get it removed. the appendix in, an emergency situation. So she posted on Instagram that she's A-okay, but that's what going to the doctor and getting those regular checkups, man, and listening to your body can do.
Man, wow. Man, hope my girl get up and back running pretty quick, man.
Her exact question was, turns out my appendix was getting ready to burst, which can be really bad. If that happens, it will likely cause death and stuff. So I'm really glad I went to go check it out, to avoid the whole dying thing.
Yeah, right. Stick around, guys. We got to take a break, man. Stick around. You're in the Hall of Fame. We'll be back in a minute. And I tell you, man, I cannot wait because right now I'm feeling good. I told you guys I had a little therapy done on the knees, a PRP therapy, man. I told you I was going to be dunking in a couple of days. But today I was doing the running, man. I'm back. I'm back. So I'm just saying.
You're back in 1985.
I'm feeling good. Why had to slow me down for a minute, man? Because I thought I was kid and played.
Paid monetary spokesperson for Walker, Texas lawyer.
Hey, this is Booker T.
And I'm Queen Charmel.
Everybody out there, we will be supporting HBCU football on CW39.
As a Spelman grad, I know I'm supporting them. But remember, if you're injured in an accident, who you gonna call?
Walker, the Texas lawyer.
That's right.
Can you dig it, sucker?
You're listening to the Hall of Fame. Here's Booker T and Brad Gilmore.
Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, guys. Like you said, you've been hanging out this weekend. I've been hanging out this weekend, and I was watching Netflix. And I don't know if you've seen it, but I was watching the documentary Operation Flagrant Foul. You ever seen that?
I don't think I've seen this one.
It's
What
with
is it about?
It's with the NBA referee Tim Donaghy was fixing games.
I'm familiar with the story. I haven't seen the documentary, though.
You gotta check it out, man. It's just so interesting, man. I mean, what's crazy is the guy that he was giving the information to was somewhat a mafia guy, and the mafia was making millions off of this deal. They did like 47 games. They went like 37-10, and the mafia made millions off of this deal, and they was paying Tim Donaghy $2,000 a game. It's crazy, man. So you got to check it out, man. I love watching the Netflix documentaries, man. They're awesome, man. They're awesome.
There's a lot of good ones out there, especially all those ESPN 30 for 30s that they did all the time. I mean, the Tim Donaghy stuff I'd heard about, it reminds me of when you think about fixing games and, famous stories of that or famous sports figures. You all obviously think of Pete Rose, who's a WWE Hall of Famer, right? Who went into the Hall in 2004 and will probably never be in the baseball or will never be in the Baseball Hall of Fame. Looking back at that, I wasn't alive when that stuff was happening. Do you remember the Pete Rose scandal?
Oh yeah, I remember it.
I mean, what was the vibe on the country? Because now I look back at it, I'm like, oh, okay, that was so long ago. Let the man in. Like, he was an incredible baseball player. What was the vibe though back then? What did people think?
I really think it was. I think it was more so the insiders. The baseball insiders. They had, feelings about it. But I think us, the world, man, we love Pete Rose. I mean, Pete Rose was a dog out on that field, man. And this guy, he left everything on that field. So we, I think we're all in the consensus of, this man should have been in the Hall of Fame. Did he bet on the game? Is that something that's definitely frowned upon? As far as that game goes, yes, of course. Was he guilty? Yes, he was guilty. But I just don't think what he did, while he played the game should have overshadowed, his on the field play. That's just me personally, and I think a lot of people feel the same way that I feel that Pete Rose should be in the Baseball Hall of Fame.
Well, when we look at the Hall of Fame, it's supposed to look at the player, right? What they contributed on the field. Okay. You can be betting on, I'm saying you could be betting on whatever. You could be doing whatever off the court or off the field or whatever. It's not about the quality of the individual. It's about the quality of their play, right?
Right now, that same question that has come up as of late with Brett Favre, stealing that money down in Mississippi, diverting funds, from, people that really, really need that money to volleyball, stadium to be built for, a team that his daughter actually plays on.
Because what we need in Mississippi? We need more volleyball stadiums. There's been such a public outcry. We need a badminton field across the street.
And the question is, if that would have been, there again, like Terrell Owens, Michael Vick, how would he be looked at in that same situation? People are going to look at Michael Vick as far as him ever being in the Hall of Fame. People are going to look at T.O. They looked at T.O. as far as, should he ever be in the Hall of Fame? Brett Favre, he should have that same scrutiny. So, I think agree. I think you're off the field play and your integrity, the integrity of the man definitely have something to do with, should somebody be in the Hall of Fame.
Well, I mean, I agree with you about what you're saying about Brett Favre. If these allegations prove to be true, which there are text messages, so it's going to be hard to go against these, right? But if that's the case, man, I mean, he's obviously not a quality individual. That's just putting it out there. And I remember,
and that may overshadow your on-field play.
It could in public, I guess. It could and definitely in how the public views you. I think we had conversations about T.O. because the whole T.O. thing, he didn't even go to the ceremony, if I remember correctly, right? To the Hall of Fame ceremony. He didn't even go. He had his own because there was scrutiny about him as a teammate and him as this and that or whatever. Of course, Michael Vick, we all remember that. But to me, there definitely needs to be the same amount of I don't know, public outcry for Brett Favre that there was for people like T.O.
Yeah, but it's not.
But there's not, and we know why there's not. But there should be. There should be way more. They should be screaming from the mountaintops right now. But to me, still going back to it, like if it didn't affect your on-field play, should it affect your Hall of Fame candidacy? Like going to Michael Vick, no one's excusing what he did, right? Brett Favre, no one's excusing what he did. Or going back to the original question, Pete Rose, nobody's excusing what he did, but can we separate these people from person and what an athlete? Like, is that a possibility?
I don't think so. Barry Bonds was never convicted, and he's a guy who probably never be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So I think the perception, is one thing, and I think that's the one thing that I think you're judged by more so than anything. It's the perception of, I don't know about this guy. You know what I mean? Maybe this, it's always going to be some rumblings, you know what I mean? So I don't know as far as that go, but it's definitely a conversation that needs to be had.
Yeah, I mean, the Brett Favre stuff, I mean, it's just so gross. And it's not the first time that he's had allegations of some kind against him, right? There are things that happened, with him sending photographs that if that had happened, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, Brett Favre, you wouldn't even hear his name anymore. He'd be scrubbed from existence. It happened to have happened 10, 15 years.
You would think.
I think it would have been. But now I don't know how he gets past this. He's already kind of sullied his reputation over the last several years.
What do you think people are going to be thinking about it, just in case, just a possibility, if Deshaun Watson go on to have a Hall of Fame career? What do you think people are going to be saying when it comes time for him to, be inducted? What do you think people are going to be saying?
They're going to talk about the 11-game suspension.
The only thing they're going to be talking about is these women.
Yeah.
That's what they're going to be talking about. Oh, I don't know about him, man. He's a bad dude. You know what I mean? That's a really bad guy. And the only thing this dude was doing was out there trying to pleasure himself.
Well, let's not simply characterize it like that. Even though, look, we don't know really the truth because there was some out of court.
No matter what happened in that situation, that's what he was trying to do.
Well, yeah, but that doesn't make it justifiable, and like nowhere near. I'm sure that's his defense, but I guess you're right, because it is kind of hard to separate. Like if OJ, you know what I mean? It's like, was he one of the greatest running backs of all time? Yeah. Is he on the list of the all-time greats? Absolutely. Can you have a conversation without OJ without first thinking of the events of the mid-90s? No, you can't.
You can't do it.
It's impossible.
Can't separate.
It's impossible. No matter how much he wants to hate Twitter world us nowadays, every time I see a video of his pop up, the first thing that I think about is the trial of the century. So I mean, it is.
What's crazy is I was just watching it today.
The trial.
Yeah. Excerpts from it, just excerpts. You know what I mean? Just to see. I just want to see Mark Furman go on the stand and plead the Fifth Amendment just one more time. Then the attorney, he goes, I just got one more question. He goes, did you manufacture or plant any evidence in this case? And did he have to plead the fifth to that? You just go, wow. This is one of the lead detectives in this case pleading the Fifth Amendment. And that's just something that a lot of people, as far as the O.J. Simpson case, that trial goes, people just seem to want to look over and just brush that under the rug. But when you got a lead detective taking the Fifth Amendment, the guy who found the glove, the guy who went over the wall, the guy who was asking all the questions, guy who found the hat, and he takes the Fifth Amendment, you got to say, wow, what the hell is going on here? So that's what's so intriguing to me about that case, man. It was a lot of intriguing parts about it that wasn't shown on television, like the sidebars, where they had to dismiss the jury and talk about certain things. It was just really, really fascinating.
Yeah, I think that they're going to be studying that case forever. Like they're going to show that in law schools forever because of how many mistakes were made on the prosecution side.
Crazy mistakes.
I mean, an incredible amount of mistakes. And it was really the first real celebrity trial, right? Where tabloids and news media, the 24-hour cycle was
on TV, 24/7.
On television.
Yeah, heck yeah. It's nuts. I watched the thing from gavel to gavel, man. From the beginning to the end, I watched it. Just because there again, it was just so intriguing in so many different ways just to hear, people come up on their stand and just lie.
Under oath.
That's the part that got me, man. People just do not care, man. And then you got tapes, where they lying as well. So it's just crazy, man. But we got to take a break, man. I know we got to get into some real talk, man. I know people want to talk about AEW. I'm just playing. Stick around. You're in the Hall of Fame. We'll be back in a minute. You're worth it.
For 13 years, the King of Solar Screens has been an industry leader, and we proudly use 100% American-made products. Home of the $55 any size, any color solar screen.
Well, what about arches?
$55.
What about circles?
$55.
What about rectangles?
$55.
Any size, any color, installed free. The King of Solar Screens, on time, every time.
Now, can you dig that, sucker? Can you dig it, sucker? Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, guys. I'm Booker T, 6-time world champ, along with my man Brad Gilmore. Like you say, man, combat did go down over the weekend. Triple G versus Canelo Alvarez 3 went down this weekend live on DAZN. I went on and dropped that DAZN app, man, just because they hadn't had any really good stuff on there as of late. Maybe I might get it back. Maybe. But right now, with just Canelo and Devin Haney, they ain't got enough fighters on there to sustain having a damn network. They need to do something about that, and they need to do something about it quick. Ain't nobody gonna pay money to see Dylan White. This ain't gonna happen. You know what I mean? So, but Triple G, Canelo went down, and
Did.
you know what? I talked to a friend of mine, former boxer Termite Watkins. He had called me and he invited me over to come check it out. I was just in on my way from Dallas. Had some speaking obligations to do down there for You're Worth It. But I got back and I didn't get a chance to go and watch the fight, but I was talking to Termite. He said, how you see this fight going? And I said, man, I see this fight going the same way the last few fights has gone. Triple G is going to put up a good fight, but the one thing that people really need to focus in on with this fight was Triple G and Father Time. Father Time's caught up with him. I mean, if you watch that fight, he was nowhere near the same fighter that he was in fight 1 and 2. This dude that fought just this past weekend is a guy that Father Time has caught up with him, and it's time for him to lay it down. Did he get knocked out? Of course not. He's a damn good defensive fighter. But did he get beat to the punch throughout 12 rounds? Yes, he did. And still champion Canelo Alvarez. What'd you think about that fight, man?
It's so funny you brought that up. When I was watching the fight, I was watching it in bed with my iPad, and I literally, as Triple G is getting pelted at one point by Canelo, the round ends, and I turned to my wife and I said, as Booker T would say, time waits for no man. Because, and then I went immediately to Google, looked up his age. He hit that 4-0 mark. And we talk about it all the time. We've talked about it for years on this show. Something about the 4 and the 0 next to each other. If you're an MMA fighter or if you're a boxer, something about it, you change. And Triple G at one point was a superb fighter. I think he won the first fight between him and Canelo. I truly do think he won that first fight. But you know what? Like you said, time waits for no man. And you know what wasn't helping him? They had to play the Kazakhstani national anthem. They had to play the Mexican national anthem and the U.S. national anthem all before he could come out, before his entrance. He was standing there. His knees were getting older by the second. You know what I mean?
I don't think that was, I don't care what, anthem would have been played. He was getting his ass whooped after it was over.
Look, I understand we were in Vegas, but I'm like, why are they playing the American national anthem? These are two foreign fighters.
No, we just got to get our props.
We got to
get our props.
We're putting it on, all right?
We got to have somebody go out there and try to get a contract. Because it's a rendition. This is something new. It's gonna be a whole bunch of extra added anthems going on. Who sung it for the brothers?
For the American national anthem?
Who sung it?
I don't know who he was. He was an older gentleman.
Brother?
He was a brother.
Yeah. Did he make it his own?
No, he kind of stuck to the book on it. You know what I mean? He kind of went by the book. He didn't Whitney Houston it, and he definitely didn't Fergie it. But he was like somewhere in the middle, just kind of real by the book.
I was just looking at just a couple of nights ago when Roseanne Barr actually sung the national anthem.
Wait. You just said sung? That did not occur.
Well, that national anthem, man, you got to be crazy to even take that job.
It's a difficult song.
When Carl Lewis did it.
Roseanne did it at a baseball game, right? And she spat afterward.
Bro, Carl Lewis, you got if you ever seen Carl Lewis do it, you got to see it. Because the thing is, Carl actually thought he could actually sing. And then he realized, what the hell was I thinking? He got to the point, when you got to hit the high note and his voice just went away. But that might be the worst one in the history of his voice.
Oh, man. Well, I got to look up this Carl Lewis one. But while I do that, what's next for Triple G? Because I don't want to say it was a must win for Canelo, but he definitely had to win. Coming off that loss.
Well, one thing about fighters, man, they never want to retire, man. That's just the nature of the beast in the game. Triple G, I'm not going to sit here and say, oh man, he's done. He's going to retire after this. He's going to ride off in the sunset or anything like that. Nah, that's not gonna happen. Triple G's you're gonna see him in the ring again. You're gonna see him fight again. Will he ever fight at that level again? Well, hell, his last 3 biggest fights been against Canelo. He hadn't had any big fights other than Canelo. He's been trying to cash in forever, and it just has eluded him. But I don't know. I don't think we see him in any other big fights. I don't think we're gonna see a Canelo Triple G 4. There's no need.
There's no reason.
Yeah, it really was no reason for 3. You know what I mean? Other than, like you say, a lot of people thought, Triple G won the first fight. So just giving the benefit of the doubt, say, hey, let's run it back. One more time. Let's go get this paper, baby. That's, I think, what that was all about. And me personally, yeah, I get it.
For Triple G, it might be the last time we see him, but let's just hear this thing. I got to hear what this is. The
Carl Lewis apparently didn't see the movie. If his rendition of the Star-Spangled Banner prior to the Nets-Bulls game last night is any indication, as a public service, only excerpts. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen,
only excerpts. I'm just too excited.
Are we all ready?
Here we go. Oh, say, can you see? And the Rockets set back. I'll make up for it now. Oh, the land of the free.
You know what he should have said after he hit that high note? You know what he should have said? What? He should have said, bear with me. I got this. Woo! That was terrible.
Oh my God.
Woo!
How good was that, man? Tried to get him a contract. Oh man, when he went to the Rockets, Red Glad, his voice just left.
His voice said, "What the hell are you thinking?
What are you doing out here? Why did you pick this microphone up?" Oh my God, I love that, man. I swear, it's hard to even watch. That's how bad it is. It's hard to even watch that. Good God, man.
It's a little cringy. I'll be honest with you. It's a little Carl Lewis, man. Hey, bro.
God bless him, brother. Brother was fast though.
I'm sure his ass was fast to get out of that building too. He's like, I cannot be seen anymore.
Oh my God, man. That was worse than Roseanne right there, bro. That was worse.
Oh, because I think Roseanne's was intentionally bad.
Yeah, Roseanne just went out there, just made a fool out of herself. She was like she was having some fun doing it. But Carl Lewis actually thought he was like the next Michael Jackson.
I mean,
he was really, he had the clothes on, he had the haircut. He was ready to go out there and let the world know that, hey, I can do this. Man.
You knew he had what we call irrational confidence. And you knew he had it when he started to try to do the warm up before he started. He didn't just said, "Oh, say," he went, "Oh."
Even before that, y'all ready for this?
Y'all ready?
Oh my God, man. Every time I think about watching that, man, I say, God, how can you put yourself in a position for something like that to happen? Never in a million years. Somebody called me and asked me to do something like that, man. I don't care if I got a earpiece in one ear and the music going in, I got to sing over the record. I ain't thinking about it. Forget about it. Because it's going to sound bad. And you ever see the commercial where Shaq is singing in the shower and then he get out the shower? You ever see that?
Yeah, I know you're talking about. It's like a gold bond.
Sound good when he's in the shower. But as soon as he get out, shoot, it comes right back to reality. So
sounds like Carl Lewis.
Oh. Oh man, but that's something else, man.
That was much needed. That was much needed. Guys, by the way, if y'all listening or watching, if you have a better, worse national anthem than the Carl Lewis rendition, please hit us up on Twitter. I would love to see anything that's worse than that, just to have a great laugh. You know what I mean? Have a great laugh, Book. Book, since Friday, there's been something going on online, in the arenas during the Raw broadcast that I want to get your reaction to. I think we're coming up on a break, but there's been something mysterious and odd happening that we must discuss in the realm of the WWE.
Yeah. There's been a lot going on in WWE. A lot of it has been, if I say so myself, I've been liking the action. I've been liking the dynamic of the way that, so it's got an old school feel to it, as far as if it ain't broke, don't fix it. One of those type of deals. I'm not going to get all the way off into it or anything like that, because I just don't like giving away the tricks to the trade or anything like that. But I must say, man, I'm liking the direction and where things are going. Stick around, guys. You're in the Hall of Fame. We'll be back in a minute.
See what Harlem need? It wasn't about the money. It wasn't about the fame. It was about the reckoning.
Edge, you have a big match tonight. Tell me, what's going on in your mind?
This is summer. Hey, kid. Did a good job out there, man. Maybe next time, though. Hey, what do you know about it next time? Boy, you crazy? Jump up. Hey, back up. Hey, back up. I'm gonna smoke your mind. Come on. Back up. Come on. I got your number. I got your number.
Can you dig it, sucker?
You're listening to the Hall of Fame. Here's Booker T and Brad Gilmore.
Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame. Brad, you're talking about a lot of things happening as of late in the WWE. In specific, what are we talking about?
So there was, on the show on Friday, SmackDown, after the show or during the show, it wasn't televised, there was a vignette that played to the crowd only. And the only way we found out about this was from fan cam videos, people who took the video actually in the crowd. And it was of the Jefferson Airplane song White Rabbit, and kind of this weird promo. And things like that continue to happen over the weekend via social media. And then on Monday Night Raw, a QR code appeared on the screen. And if you scan the QR code, it took you to this little graphic of somebody playing Hangman, right? And then the caption was, who killed the world, or who destroyed the world, right? And the answer was solved, and it said, you did. And then you see this picture of a white rabbit looking scary or whatever. Then it goes away. This has led to a lot of online speculation as to what could this be? What is this white rabbit thing all about? And a lot of people are pointing at one of two people. One, Karrion Kross. Some people think because he's got kind of a creepy gimmick going on, maybe it's him. But the overwhelming majority of the internet say it's signaling the return of Bray Wyatt to the WWE. Now, we know Braun Strowman has been brought back. Johnny Gargano has been brought back. Several people, Dexter Lumis. We can go on and on.
Karrion Kross.
Karrion Kross. Just mentioned him. Karrion Kross is back. A lot of people coming back under the Triple H regime. It was said upon his release back in the summer of 2021 that Bray Wyatt and Vince just weren't seeing eye to eye creatively. And, they kind of had a fractured relationship, which led to his eventual release. Vince isn't around anymore. Triple H is. Remember, Bray Wyatt was an NXT guy. He came up through that NXT system. That's where the Wyatt family was created. Do you think have you seen these White Rabbit vignettes that I'm talking about? And do you think it could signal the return of Bray Wyatt?
I haven't actually seen the vignette, but I actually saw the the QR code and whatnot, and I kind of, came to, think that it may have something to do with Bray Wyatt coming back. And if Bray Wyatt does come back, definitely he's going to be a big shot in the arm for WWE. Having that enigma back on the roster. I don't think we've seen anything like Bray Wyatt from a guy who can go out there and captivate just by jumping on the microphone. I don't think it was in-ring prowess or anything like that. I think Bray Wyatt's overall package is what made people go, wow, this is something special, and I want to be a part of it. So, having Bray back, it will be great. I'm not going to speculate or anything like that until I actually see him, on the roster. But for me, I said it, not too long ago, it would be great to have Bray Wyatt back in the company.
You mean, do you have any knowledge there? You said I'm not going to speculate until I see him. Do you know something that you're not telling us?
No, like I said, I'm not going to speculate on it or anything like that. My thing is, I hate trying to, I don't want to give myself a spoiler. You know what I mean? Right. I don't want to, I don't want to ruin my own surprise. You know what I mean? So for me, I like the anticipation of turning the television on and then boom, seeing it like, oh man, Bray Wyatt's back. It's one of those type of things, just like when Karrion Kross came back. If I would have known Karrion was coming back before he came back, I wouldn't have been like, oh man, I'm glad he's back. I would have known he was coming back. So it would have been, the anticipation would have been gone, would have evaporated. So my thing is, if Bray Wyatt comes back, it's going to be awesome. Braun Strowman's back. Awesome. Gargano's back. Awesome. I think all of those guys were huge pieces to the puzzle why, the company has such a buzz, last few years. When those guys left, seemed like a lot of air came out of the company. And I'm just glad to see it actually, getting back to, where people are, watching the show and having fun again.
You did hit on something. I don't like when I know what's going to happen on the show. I really don't. And it's this social media age has really brought in the spoiler heavy things. Because I remember, I think it was Survivor Series 2015. I saw an article that went up the day before Survivor Series. So it must have been on Saturday. And it said, click this if you want to read the biggest spoiler in wrestling you'll read all year. And when someone gives a headline like that, it's very hard not to click on it, right? It's very tempting to click. So I clicked on it, and it said, the rumor is Sting's going to show up at Survivor Series tomorrow. And I'm like, oh, man, that would be crazy. So that when the moment happened in the arena where the lights went out and then Sting comes out, it did take a little bit of the shock and awe away from me. There was one time, though, WWE went through a phase where they would promote people returning. I remember when Batista came back, before he was on television, they're like, the animal returns on Monday. It's like, why are you going to tell us that? Just let him come out.
Yeah.
We didn't know. Let him come out. We'll be surprised.
Might have been a rating thing back then. Maybe they were just trying to make sure they got the rating, let everybody know that, Batista was going to be showing back up. Maybe that was that all about, you know what I mean? So I can kind of understand that. I can kind of understand that a little bit.
The best return, though, surprise return they did on television one time in recent memory. I remember they were in Miami and everybody on social media the whole day was talking about, hey, somebody's apparently coming back. They were in Miami. Could it be The Rock? Who is it going to be? Da-da-da-da-da. And finally, there's a point in the night where the limousine pulls up. And actually, our former reality wrestling announcer, Rich Bocchini, who was working there at the time, was doing the backstage. And the limo pulls up, the door opens out. They get the shot of the feet, and they pan up. And who's returned? It was The Miz, right? And you're like, oh, it's The Miz. This, suck. Everybody's booing him, and Miz is like, yes, I'm the big movie star who's coming back tonight in Miami, Florida.
I remember that.
And then, though, as he's cutting the promo, you see a truck pull up behind him, a big black truck, put it in park, steps out, and it's The Rock. So they got us like with a 1-2 punch.
Yeah.
And that was a really, really fun segment that they did. I love when that stuff like that happens. It just adds so much to the show.
No, I mean, certain things, man, you got to, how many times I've said it, man, you got to know how to use what you got. You know what I mean? You got to know when you got a moment as well, and you can't let that moment, pass you by. Of course, The Rock could have showed up and got the big pop, but to be able to throw that, a little swerve in there and make you go, oh, You know what I mean? That right there is what wrestling is, entertainment, baby, at its highest.
And you know what? I got to give them big props. When AEW did it, at their, was it Double or no? It was All Out 2021, where we all heard Daniel Bryan was coming in, and we were waiting for him. The end of the show comes. Then we hear music, and we think it's going to be Daniel Bryan, and who walks out? It's Adam Cole. And I was like, oh, crap, it's Adam Cole. And then they came back with Daniel Bryan at the end of the show, too, just a few minutes later. That was a really cool moment.
Yeah.
I think it's why fans love the Royal Rumble. It's because you never know when that clock counts down who's going to come out.
I was listening to Sean Waltman. You know what I mean? He's looking for unexpected entry in the Royal Rumble. So yeah. Those days are always nostalgic and make you feel a certain way, wondering who's going to come out there. Especially if you're thinking about an old schooler coming out of the curtain. You know what I mean? You're always thinking about some old schooler coming out there looking for one last run, and that one last pop, and it's always a good pop. Like I said, my time coming back at the Rumble, I tell you, man, was one of my finest moments, man. I loved that night, man, just because it was so nostalgic and iconic. And there again, I knew I wasn't winning the Rumble or anything. I've never won any Rumbles. But that night, man, it felt special to be a part of that deal. So me personally, I would love to see X-Pac, make that walk to the ring in a Rumble or something like that.
Going back to your Rumble return in 2012, right? 2011. I think I asked you this before, but I don't remember the answer. Did they give you did they hide you all day, or were you just chilling in the back?
I can't remember, man. I think I stayed at the hotel and I came in late, and they got me in and whatnot. But it was the guys that was in the ring. They knew I was there. You know what I mean? I mean, because you can't do a Rumble without everybody being a part of, a story like that. Somebody like me coming back and then guys bumping for me and stuff like that. So they had to, make sure. Don't hurt Booker T.
Because I think people in the ring was Punk and the Nexus. Factions.
Yeah. They all put me over big and went out there and they bumped for me. So yeah, man, it was an awesome night.
Yeah, surprise returns. Well, I hope to see Bray Wyatt back again. I think that he was one of those real interesting creative forces. He could deliver a promo. The Fiend character was incredible, and I think they made a lot of money on the merch too. I think they made some money on that Fiend merch. I remember they sold didn't they sell like a replica title for $1,200, or did I make that up?
Yeah. No, you serious? Yeah.
And that title was ugly as all hell, but somebody bought it.
A lot of people bought it. I mean,
people bought that.
A lot of people bought it. One thing about wrestling fans, man, they gonna go deep in their pocket, man, when they want to get some merchandise, man. It's just that's the wrestling fans, and I love them, man. I'm telling you. Of course, I put some stuff online and sold some stuff for, to try to raise some money to get a truck. And I tell you, man, they bought that stuff like that. And I was like, wow, man, it's amazing. And the wrestling fan around the world too, Japan, England, Germany, man, they go spend some money because they love them some wrestling. Speaking of guys that may be making a return back to the WWE, we got to talk about that. Stick around, guys. You're in the Hall of Fame. We'll be back in a minute.
Get this thing kicked off right now with a bang. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh, my brother, that's the fire. The flaming strikes we find in everything we love. We're not being precision. anybody was ever you got your way, yeah, got your way, and I got mine. And we're not the same side. You got your game, yeah, got your game. Every last one you lie. It's no concern of mine.
Can you dig it, sucker?
You're listening to the Hall of Fame. Here's Booker T and Brad Gilmore.
Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, guys. Talking about guys that may be making a return back to the WWE. We know that Malakai Black has requested his release from All Elite Wrestling. And he said, man, I just need to take a break, man. I need to get away from this thing. I mean, mental problems. I need to reset. And the thing is that reset back in the WWE? That's what homeboy do. That's the rumor out there right now, that people saying that Malakai Black may be making his way back to the WWE. What do you think about that?
You know, when Alistair, Black left WWE, was released, it was in the middle of him having a feud with Big E, and it was kind of out of nowhere. People were kind of surprised and shocked by it. He went right over to AEW, and he was an early coup for them to steal. Because remember, he had, for some reason, was still on an NXT contract, so he only had a 30-day non-compete. So he showed up a lot sooner when he still had some heat on him, which was great. And he's done good work over there.
Not really. He hadn't done much work at all, really. I mean,
he had his House of Black.
Yeah.
And had some great matches.
What do you remember? What do you remember, though? What do you remember? What do you remember that Aleister Black has really done in AEW? What?
Well, see, but you know what? Here's the thing with AEW. AEW is so matched focused, and it's not as much angle focused. So it's hard for me to say, oh, what do I remember about Malakai Black in AEW? Because I remember more of, like I said, more of the matches than I do the angles. I mean, that's kind of what they do. But I'm just saying, like, he carried the quality over from what he was doing in WWE. He continued the quality of his character and in-ring ability in AEW. Here's my thing, though. Right when he went over to AEW, who did WWE bring back? They brought back Zelina Vega, Thea Trinidad, and they're married. They're together. I know they would much prefer to be on the road together, right? I would have to think that that's got to be some motivating factor. I don't know what he's going on. I'm saying if he goes back to WWE, because I think he kind of had a sweetheart deal somewhat in AEW. Because remember, Tony Khan was like, I got Malakai Black under contract till 2027 or whatever it was. Remember he was talking about that? Yeah. I got Adam Cole to 2045. Like, yeah. I got these guys locked in. So I'm sure he was happy with the money and happy enough with his position there to sign that long-term deal. I don't know what's going on with him. I hope he's fine. I hope he's healthy. But for me, I think that him and WWE under a Triple H-led WWE makes a lot of sense, because him in NXT, that entrance, remember the intro where he would like have like the coffin and he'd kind of rise up from the coffin, had a real cool vibe about him.
Yeah, I thought Malakai Black had Aleister Black, Malakai Black. I thought Black.
Say Black.
I thought Black had a hell of a thing going on in the WWE. And I know one thing about being frustrated as well. You can get frustrated, and next thing you know, you say, man, I can't take no more of this. I want out. You know what I mean? Then you get out, and then you go somewhere like AEW, and then you get over there and you realize, and like for me, there again, no disrespect to, TNA or anything like that. But when I went there, I go, man, it wasn't a whole lot of structure. It wasn't a whole lot of structure the way I was used to things being structured. As far as, a lot of the angles that were being done, I was like, man, what are we doing here? And why are we doing? So I start questioning things. And then the one thing I started questioning more than anything was, man, why the hell am I here? No, I'm serious. That's what I started questioning. I was like, man, why am I here? What am I doing here? You know what I mean? I went there for good reasons and with good intention, but things just didn't work out that way. And I tell you, I start thinking immediately, man, I got to get out of here. I can't do this much longer. I quit TNA and Charmel didn't even know it. I'm serious. Charmel came in and I said, baby, we wrapping up. We out of here. I'm serious.
So what was her reaction to you quitting TNA without telling her?
Well, she's seen it before. I loved WWE the first time, and I didn't tell her, until it actually happened. But she knew where I was. She knew where my head was as far as why I thought I came to that company. She saw how frustrated I was on the road. A lot of times, as well as I'm gonna have a friend of mine. His name's Craig Jenkins. He was over road talent when I was in TNA. I just want to get him on the show just so he could tell people how frustrated I really was with that company at the end of my run. And it was just frustration because I thought we could have been doing so much better. I thought that company could have been, reaching, so much further as far as, viewers go, as far as fans go, as far as entertaining the fans at the same time and bringing them something different with that six-sided ring and those young guys. And none of it came to fruition. So I was like, man, just let me get the hell up out of here before the wheels fall off. And I think I did that.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, then you came back. You and Big Nash. The Main Event Mafia was gone. And then they tried to replace you and Nash with was it Rampage Jackson and Tito Ortiz? Is that who they
were? Somebody. I mean, whatever. It didn't work out. Let's just say that.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. But let me ask you though. I mean, because you brought up Charmel, am I off base here? Like, if your wife is working in one company and you're working in the other, what you mean? Just logic would say you would want to be in the same company.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta would think that, of course. I mean, Charmel and I, we definitely, I think, worked a whole lot better together. I think Keith Lee and Mia Yim, what's it, Mia Yim?
Mia Yim, yeah.
Yeah, I think they would rather be together. I don't know why, AEW haven't signed her, but signed Keith Lee. So I definitely think it makes things a whole lot easier. Same within the WWE right now. You got guys like, Seth Rollins, who's in a relationship. I'm sure that makes it a whole lot easier, to be able to, go to work and come home and still be able to be a family at the same time.
Yeah, it makes a world of difference. It's got to make a world of difference for them. So we'll see if Malakai Black ends up again in WWE. I know that they said there was a conditional release of him from AEW, and
condition probably was you can't work anywhere else, but if you go back to WWE, it's cool.
We get it. It's interesting though. You bring up AEW and WWE because we have a super chat in, our first one of the day, from Brooklyn Bryan, and Brooklyn Bryan says Tony Khan said the real crown jewel of wrestling markets, not some BS overseas in Saudi Arabia. New York City is where you want to be. I agree, MSG. Of course, yeah, they're promoting their Grand Slam show, I believe, at Arthur Ashe Stadium.
Yeah,
that goes on this week, and WWE's crown jewel is coming up. Tony Khan does this. I mean, he does it. He does it to do this, to stir conversation up. So people say, "Oh, did you hear what Tony Khan said?" Well, what was he talking about? Well, they're running Grand Slam, and it's just a form of promotion. He's not stupid.
Yeah, but maybe he is in a lot of ways.
Wait, so you think that kind of comment is uncalled for?
I mean, worry about yourself. Worry about your company. Worry about the turmoil that's going on within side of AEW right now. Try to fix that before you start thinking about what WWE is doing and steady running, his mouth about WWE. I mean, I got a lot of respect for Tony Khan, but sometimes you earn respect as well. You know what I mean? And you don't earn it by going out there talking. You earn it by going out there and doing it. You know what I mean? I think I would have a whole lot more respect for Tony Khan if he handled his business. And we all know what that is. We saw the press conference. You know what I mean? So I say he definitely, need to think about, what's going on in that company and just not focus on WWE as much, and things might work out for him.
And normally I agree with you. Normally I would on this, because I don't like typically when they, especially on television, mention the other show. Like I remember watching Raw back in the day, and this is before Bischoff worked for the company, still when WCW was going on, and they mentioned Eric Bischoff's name, and I remember going, "Who the hell is Eric Bischoff?" I had no idea who that was, and it took me out of the show. I can understand why Tony does this kind of stuff when he's promoting his product, because it's going to get people to talk. It's going to get people to share it online, and it's going to get Grand Slam promoted. Do I like it? No, I don't particularly care.
How is this promoting Grand Slam?
Because he's talking about, hey, this is the real crown jewel, is, AEW Grand Slam in the heart of New York City, not some BS in Saudi Arabia. And then, lights people. It's the headlines. So people are going to put this in a headline. Tony Khan calls Saudi Arabia crown jewel BS, and then people click on it and they're like, oh, he's promoting Grand Slam. I understand. Now, it could be to his own detriment, but I'm just saying I get why he's doing it. Like, I understand it. Not saying it's a good or bad idea, but I get why he's doing it.
Yeah. I mean, like I say, me personally, I don't get it. Just because there again, it's a lot of things, it's a lot of upside about AEW. But just like, Chris Jericho was talking at that press conference, some things are just better left kept, to ourselves. You know what I mean? Just steady blowing up WWE, especially the way WWE right now is rolling. Just don't think, as well as the contract from Saudi. People can say what they want to say about it. People just say, for instance, in the PGA right now, in the Live Golf Tour, people are saying what they want to say about it over there too. But those guys that that don't have those major contracts, those guys that's not winning those golf tournaments on a weekly basis, those guys that's not getting those sponsorships from Nike and all these other places, those guys, they want to make their money too. You know what I mean? So when it's money to be made in entertainment, me personally, I've always tried to keep entertainment and politics separate, because I've gone all over the world and performed. I've actually gone to Korea and performed because we got fans over there, and those fans want wrestling, and I'm not going to hold those fans accountable for the way their dictators think. I'm just not going to do that, me personally. So when I look at stuff like that, I got to look at it from a perspective to where I'm thinking about me and my family.
Yeah. No, I mean, look, everybody deserves to be entertained equally. I understand. Like, I'd be ignorant to say I don't understand why people take shots at the Saudi shows. I get it. Right, I do. But also remember, this is not a contract that this regime signed, right? Of WWE, right? This was from a previous regime, but they're under contract. They got to go regardless. Once you put your name on that dotted line, you got to show up and show out. So, I get it. But look, Book, we got actually more to talk about. I think we're due for a break here. But let's pick this up after the break.
Stick around. You're in the Hall of Fame. We'll be back in a minute.
listening to the Hall of Fame. Here's Booker T and Brad Gilmore.
Welcome inside the Hall of Fame. Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame. Just checking out something there on Twitter. What would you want to go, man? What you want to go?
Well, look, we were just talking about Crown Jewel, which of course is around the corner.
Yeah.
So is Extreme Rules. We got a lot of shows coming up, but they announced the main event of Crown Jewel. And they announced it via a press conference on Saturday in Las Vegas, Nevada, where you go when you want to make a big fight. And in Saudi Arabia, at the Crown Jewel, the WWE Undisputed Universal Championship of the World will be defended as Roman Reigns goes one-on-one in his second singles appearance, goes one-on-one with YouTube star and boxing star, if you will, one half of the Paul brothers, Logan Paul versus Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship. This drew a lot of attention. Whether you say good or bad, it drew a lot of attention. Now, we've been all props of Logan Paul on the show, and I think that people aren't adverse to a Logan Paul versus Roman Reigns match. Some people have issues with it being for the championship. I will say I enjoyed watching the press conference book. It was an enjoyable experience to me, and it was really interesting because it was a wrestling press conference with the world champion that didn't end in a brawl backstage. I don't know how you do that in this day and age, but nevertheless, it was fun to watch. What do you think of Logan Paul versus Roman Reigns for the title?
I like it. It being in at Crown Jewel. Crown Jewel is not a your typical WWE show. Is not your typical WWE fans or anything like that. Crown Jewel is a spectacle. Mm-hmm. All right. It's about giving those fans over there a night, an extravaganza. And those guys over there, of course, they spare no expenses. WrestleMania, jacked up in a lot of different ways, especially from the firework perspective. Those guys go all out.
They love some pyro.
Oh man, they love some pyro over there. So my thing is, what's the other matches? Any other matches?
I don't know if anything's been announced yet, other than the main event.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think this show is about the wrestling matches that we per se here in the States would really be, clamoring for or anything like that. But those guys over there, they're gonna love it, man. Those guys over there, man. If Junkyard Dog came back and he was on the card, they would love it. I'm serious. You know what I mean? So
well, remember when they did the Greatest Royal Rumble, they had requested Yokozuna.
Exactly.
I believe.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? So those
and
guys,
remember WWE went out and got some random sumo wrestler. You remember that? There was some random sumo guy on the show. No one had ever heard of.
Oh man, but yeah, man. I could go over there. I'm just saying. No, man, it's different over there, and Logan Paul and Roman Reigns. I think those guys are going to give a good show. No doubt about that. Logan Paul is a hell of an athlete. I think this guy definitely going to have I think he's got a bright future in professional wrestling. I really do. How far, he takes it is going to be up to him, and how much time he really wants to put into it, because it could really become a grind. That's where Logan Paul is going to be tested, more importantly than anything. If he can embrace that part of this business, this kid may go a very, very long way in this business. Have seen anyone that come in that had zero experience that has taken off like this kid. So I give him a lot of credit as far as putting the time in to actually learning. He's going to be, definitely in a position where he's going to be on the job training in there with Roman, because that's going to be a lesson of a lifetime for someone like Logan. I'm serious. But he's going to walk away from that match, a much, much better performer than he was when he walked in.
I like kind of the angle that he's taken of it. He goes, look, guys, you might think, what the hell am I doing going for the WWE title in my second match? Well, guess what? In my second boxing fight, I fought Floyd Mayweather. I go after the top guys. That's what I do. That's what my brand's about. I like the angle that he's taken on it. Now, I will say this. We have a super chat coming in here from Bill Tyrell. who says, am I the only one that thinks Logan Paul should go over on Roman Reigns? It will seriously shock the world. The answer to that question is yes, you are the only person who thinks that. You're exclusively on the planet. You're the only person that thinks that. All love to you, Bill Tyrell. But you, my friend, are alone on that island.
Yeah, I think he's like Gilligan's Island.
It's just you, bro. Logan Town population, you, bro. Like there's no one else singing that. But you know what? Look, it doesn't hurt.
Anything's possible.
Anything's possible. But
anything's possible.
I think we've talked about it on here. These Saudi Arabia shows in general, whether they be the Greatest Royal Rumble, Elimination Chamber, Crown Jewel, any of the other ones that they come up with, they are kind of like in an alternate reality. You know, like it happens, but it didn't really happen. I don't know how else to describe it. You know, it's like Shawn Michaels' retirement match technically happened on a Crown Jewel in Saudi Arabia where he was shaved bald-headed and Kane lost his mask. But did that really happen?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
Did Undertaker and Goldberg wrestle? I don't really know if that happened. I don't know.
It's not something that you think a whole lot about.
You don't.
It's not something that you think about a whole lot about at all. You know, just because I really think those shows are separate than anything that we do over here. I don't think they're formulated to what's going on television or anything like that. There's no way they can because their television, as far as timeline, according to our television, it's totally in two different places. So I don't think going into a show like that, that's not even something you think about. It's almost like the collision in Korea.
Right, the show y'all did back in the day.
Show those guys did. You just put a card together and you go over there and you hopefully it work out.
Well, I thought you were on the Korea show.
No, I wasn't on that Korean collision. No, that was
not the Korean collision. This was a different one.
Yeah.
Okay, my bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, look, these shows they kind of exist, but they don't. I think this is a big match to make. I think this is going to get a lot of people to watch. And you know what, Logan Paul, like you said, only thing he can do after this match is get a lot better. You talk about fresh out the frying pan into the fryer.
Well, just think about this for a second. How many followers Logan Paul got?
100 million, gazillion. I don't know, a lot.
Just think about how many going to be watching that pay-per-view. Just think about it.
Quite a few.
Exactly. It's gonna be quite a few of his fans watching him go out there and do his thing. You know what I mean? So, a premium event. I'm sorry,
premium live event. Premium live event. Don't mess that up, man.
Come on, minister. You get 5% pay-per-view these days. That word has been banned.
It's banned.
No, but seriously, man. Yeah. Seriously, premium event. Check it out. I think Logan Paul is going to bring a whole lot of attention to the show, and I just want to see the kid go out there and do his thing.
Yeah, we'll see what else gets announced. Now, they also announced at Extreme Rules we're going to get Rollins and Riddle in the fight pit at Extreme Rules. Now, this is something they did in NXT. I think they did it back in the 90s in WWE where they called it the Lion's Den with Ken Shamrock. But it's essentially an MMA setup called the Fight Pit. What do you think about this?
Well, I like what Riddle and Seth Rollins has been doing as of late. That's what I was talking about as far as wrestling goes. You know, the match with Bobby and Seth went down this week. A lot of people, you know, went into that like, man, Seth is going to win this match. And then Riddle comes out and just totally spoiled the party, which the week before, Seth Rollins came out and did the same thing to Riddle. That's what wrestling used to be, man. You always had, something going on with somebody which might make something happen while this is actually going on, which you never knew when it was going to happen or what was going to happen until it happened. So for me, I like the angle and the way we're going right now. I give Hunter a lot of credit as far as riding the ship and just giving fans wrestling. And I think that's what fans just want.
We know there was another big announcement when you talk about different matches coming back from the old school, back when wrestling was wrestling, as you put it. You know, your first pay-per-view, not premium live event, your first pay-per-view, right? In Houston, you were in the main event. and it was inside WarGames. And they announced that Survivor Series WarGames returns at Survivor Series. And I think that's also something really cool. I think that's a cool spectacle to bring to the Survivor Series stage, the Dusty Rhodes Classic WarGames.
There again, man, it's just nostalgia, bringing these guys back, to what wrestling was back in the day and giving them that feel of it. And actually they go out and, just recreate it all in their term as far as what they're doing now. I love it, seeing stuff like that come back for me, as well as keeping the legacy of the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, alive. You know what I mean? Like you say, myself, my brother, Sid Vicious, Big Van Vader. What a night for a young kid like myself to be a part of something like that. That's a pay-per-view I remember for the rest of my life, because I'm the shock master, man. I was flying all over for that dude that night. I was taking bumps. I took so many damn bumps that night, man. It wasn't funny, man. But all for the sake of the business, man, and the love of the business, man. So yeah, seeing that come back, yeah, definitely, I'm loving it.
For the love of the game. Well, we got one more segment for y'all this week here on the Hall of Fame. I think we're due for a break book, and we'll come back and talk a little more.
Stick around, guys. You're in the Hall of Fame. We'll be back in a minute.
Oh, wait a minute. Oh, and Diego De La Cruz now, obviously the veteran here between the two. Wait a minute. Head scissor. Les hits a head scissor. That takes some crazy athleticism. Splash. Les is showing us what he's got. Oh my gosh, cover 1, 2, and oh man. Aiden Cristiano there, and now it's Bedlam. It's Bedlam. It's a brawl. It's a brawl here at the Summer of Champions.
You're listening to the Hall of Fame. Here's Booker T and Brad Gilmore.
Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, guys. We're getting close to wrapping this thing up for today, but we got a little bit more for you as far as what's going on in the world of sports and entertainment. I want to thank all you guys for hanging out with us here today, getting your champagne wishes and caviar dreams. What's next on the docket? From my perspective, been reading a little bit about the AEW locker room.
Yeah.
It's kind of split down the middle right now, with certain guys being on the sides of the Young Bucks and the Elite, as well as certain guys being on the side of CM Punk. What do you think about that?
From what I read is it's more anti-Punk than it is anti-Young Bucks.
I didn't want to say that. I want to let you say it.
Well, I'm just going off what I've read now. I don't know this. This is just speculation on my part and whoever's researching this. But it sounds like the Young Bucks can rub people the wrong way, but they're mostly liked. And you know what? I've only had one interaction with the Young Bucks, and it was on this show, and they were quite pleasant guys, and they were on time, and they gave us a whole lot of time, and they answered all the questions. They were great people. I don't know them out of that.
Well, they rubbed me the wrong way the first time I met them.
First time you met them.
And then I realized, wait a minute, this guy's pretty cool. It's one of those. No, I'm serious.
These guys aren't so bad.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? It's like me running into William Regal The first time I had to stay for him. I didn't like him. And I realized that's not so bad. You know what I mean?
He's a pretty cool dude.
Pretty cool dude. You know what I mean? So you can get that impression sometimes just by the way someone's aura is, just the aura that they throw off. You know what I mean? And then you get a chance to meet him and get a chance to know him. You go, wait a minute, this guy's not so. Almost like JBL. When I first met JBL, I did not like him at all. No, I'm serious. I was like, I know I'm going to have a problem with this guy.
And you've known JBL since the 90s, like early 90s.
Well, we tag team in Korea together.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'm serious. You know what I mean? And that was the first time I really had a chance to be around Justin Hawk Bradshaw. That's what his name was back then. And I was like, man, there's no way I'm going to like this guy. There's no freaking way. And by the end of that tour, man, he was the best of friends, man. I'm serious, So sometimes that's just the way someone's aura is. You think and you perceive something before you actually get a chance to know them, and that could stick in your head. So sometimes you gotta read the book first before you actually can judge it.
Well, yeah. So I mean, the Young Bucks seem to be more like than CM Punk. And maybe I've just gotten too far in the weeds on this whole thing. I just don't see a way back for CM Punk. I just don't. I mean, you can bring him back. You can do whatever you want. I mean, you're Tony Khan. I mean, you can do whatever you want. I just have seen something that I haven't seen from him before. When he left WWE in, January of 2014, the support was overwhelmingly on his side. Right?
From you?
No. From like a social media standpoint. Let me correct. From a social media standpoint.
I mean, yeah, but you had a lot of love for CM Punk as well.
I don't know if I supported him walking out. I don't recall that. I could have. I don't remember that though. But I would just say like the way that people discussed him online was more positive and more favorable. Okay, back in 2014, this incident lost him a lot of goodwill with the online wrestling community, which, let's be honest, is a lot of the hardcore AEW fan is the online community. The vocal minority in WWE is the vocal majority in AEW. So if you lose them, you've lost it all, right? And I'm not saying he's lost it all, but I see it. I see it being a difficult path back for him and for him to regain the love of the fans. And I could be maybe in my own head about it, but that's how I see it. I say, you know what? I don't.
Well, my thing is this. I see a lot of comments. A lot of comments about CM Punk, but maybe CM Punk was right as far as a lot of the Young Bucks fans are turning on him. A lot of those fans have a lot of things to say about CM Punk, not so favorable. Maybe that is what making CM Punk actually look a certain way in the people's eyes. You know what I mean? Because one thing about it, before the riff, I'm sure the Young Bucks fans were, riding with CM Punk too because they wanted AEW to succeed. I mean,
oh hell yeah.
So my thing is, this riff is definitely not going to be something good, for the company. That's something that do need to be patched up as far as CM Punk's way back into AEW. I just wonder, how do we fix that more than anything?
Well, we still haven't heard anything official from AEW regarding the status of their EVPs or CM Punk and Ace Steel. We don't know really the extent of their suspension.
Oh, Ace Steel, he gone.
He got to be gone. You got to can't bite a man. You know what I mean?
When you got a guy that's working as a producer, still using his working name, you got to get rid of his.
Yes. You're producing my match tonight. And what's your name? The Brooklyn Brawler?
Exactly. That needs to be fixed first. Somebody needs to talk to his ass about that.
I'm glad that you finally recognize who Ace Steel is after all this time. But here's the thing. Look, let's say AEW says, you know what? We don't have space for any of you anymore. And I don't think this is going to happen, but they cut bait with Kenny Omega. They cut bait with the Young Bucks. They cut bait with CM Punk, right?
Yeah, huge mistake.
Why? Okay, look, I'm just saying. Do you think? Well, no. Obviously WWE makes a play, at the free market talent. I see them wanting to bring in Kenny Omega. I could see WWE doing that. I could see them bringing in the Young Bucks. I cannot see them bringing in CM Punk. I can't do it. I can't fathom a predicament that WWE would be in unless every one of their top stars was injured and they're going into WrestleMania season. I don't see how CM Punk is an attractive option for any wrestling company right now.
Yeah. I mean, I get it. I get that. You know what I mean? But you talk about, Kenny Omega, you talk about the Young Bucks, perhaps Hangman Page. I don't think that company survives without those guys. Then again, you got Danielson, you got Moxley. How long are those guys going to still be in the game? How long are those guys going to be around doing this?
Right.
That's what I look at when I think about guys like that. With Punk, how long is Punk going to be around doing this?
Not much longer.
Is that exactly my point? You know what I mean? So the guys that that they really need to focus on, guys that really got that thing kicked off. I think that's what the focus really needs to be, more than anything. They cannot lose, those major players, because if they did that company looked just like ROH.
Right. It's like and this is no disrespect to anybody who's been on ROH, but to the mainstream wrestling fan, it is a whole lot of who's that? Who's on the show? And I mean, that for them is partially lack of television time and reach. But going back to AEW, I agree. I don't think they can lose all those guys. But you know what? I never saw a situation where AEW would lose Cody Rhodes. I never saw that. This guy was presented as a face of the company.
I didn't see that coming either. But one thing about this thing, it's a business, and Cody obviously saw the writing on the wall. In order for him to want to walk away from that money, and walk away from that schedule,
and 1 day a week.
I get it, and trust me, I understand it. Sometimes your legacy is worth so much more than comfort. It really is, And I think those great fighters that go out there and do it, that really don't have to. I think the legacy, man, and the love of the game, that's what drives, guys like Cody Rhodes. That's just me.
We'll see how this whole thing unfolds. I really don't know. But Book, the chat has been on fire about one thing, and I know we're coming to a close here today. We've had a lot of fun on the stream today. We've had a lot of fun on the show. And they're saying that there was one worse rendition of the national anthem than what we witnessed earlier with Carl Lewis.
Can't be.
There's one worse, and and now is the time to share the worst, according to our chat. This is the worst national anthem in the history of the game.
Can you see?
This is Fergie at the NBA All-Star game.
By the dawn's early light, what so proudly
she's
wave at the twilight's last gleam.
That's not bad.
And bright stars.
I mean, she's doing all right.
Come on, that ain't that bad.
I mean, she's taking some chances.
Well, that's the Fergie, man. That's the Fergie, voice.
It's an interesting take. I mean, she's hitting her notes.
No, Fergie, come on. I mean, she's going to hit her notes. She just got a little jazz thing going with it.
I mean, it's an odd take.
But it ain't.
Wait, hold on. Hold on.
She was just getting busy for a second, man. Look at Draymond. Draymond like it.
For the land of the free.
Looking like I got this.
And the home of the
Okay.
We got to get the hell out of here, man. I want to thank everybody for hanging out inside the Hall of Fame, getting you champagne wishes, national anthems, everything. We appreciate you, Brad, as always. We got to get the hell up out of here. Peace. We'll see you next time.